Welcome back. All right, we're going to talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning, a team that has won back-to-back Stanley Cups. And there are people who are not happy about it. That, 2020 shouldn't have counted. That was in a bubble. 2021 shouldn't have counted. They were over the salary cap. They won back-to-back Stanley Cups, and honestly, I could see them doing it again. But nobody has won back-to-back-to-back Stanley Cups since the Islanders did it in the early 80s. So the odd part is that the Islanders might be the best chance at stopping them, potentially, in the playoffs. But we'll see. I am taking them to win the Stanley Cup this year, because why not? Until somebody beats them, they really are the team to beat. And the numbers show it. They really do. So while they didn't have a season last year like the one they had 2 years prior, where they flamed out in the first round, spectacularly as well, but their overall numbers were very good. So their power play, 22.2%, which is ninth. Their penalty kill, 84.2%, which was fourth. So special teams, they're very good on both power play and penalty kill. Goals for, 180, that was eighth. Goals against, 145, that was sixth. They're not first in anything, but they don't need to be. And they weren't even first in their division. Didn't need that either. Didn't even have home ice advantage in the first round. It didn't matter. Home ice advantage, really not that important. Didn't have it in the second round either. So when we look at this team, we look at how it's put together, what's interesting is we always mention the draft. And there are going to be steals in every draft. We've kind of accepted this as reality with the Tampa Bay Lightning. So 2015, they drafted Stevens 33rd. Now, of course, he's out of the organization. Cirelli at 72. And Matthew Joseph at 120. So that's a successful draft. 2016, they drafted Howden at 27. They drafted Colton at 118. So Colton, who made it into their lineup last year, it shows that they take their time. Prospects are not rushed into the lineup. Cal Foote was drafted 14th overall in 2017. Volkov drafted 48th overall. Of course, Volkov was traded to Anaheim last season. 2018, Fortier is their earliest pick, and that was at 59th. 2019, they had a first-round draft pick to take Nolan Foote at 27, and then they took Alnefelt at 71. And Alnefelt may very well be their next number one goaltender when/if the day ever comes that Vasilevsky's not the guy. 2020, the earliest they drafted was 57th. They drafted Jack Finley. And 2021, the earliest they drafted is 96th. So no first-round pick, no second-round pick. Roman Schmidt was drafted 96th overall. So for Tampa Bay, they've really leaned into, all right, we want to win more, and we don't care if we're trading our first-round draft pick to do it. And so far, it's worked. If you're trading your first-round draft pick and you're winning the Stanley Cup, it's worth it. Now the first-round draft pick that you're trading, if you're winning the Stanley Cup, becomes number 32 in the draft. So the risk of that versus the possible reward, it's kind of worth it. So they've drafted well. Now their exits, this is where things could get kind of sticky for them. McElhinney, not a big deal. McElhinney did not provide them with the kind of backup goaltending they wanted. But losing Gord, losing Coleman, losing Goudreau, those three hurt. Luke Shen on the blue line, as well as Savard on the blue line. Shen, a depth defenseman, absolutely. Savard, though, top four, and once he got into his stride in Tampa, he was pretty good during that run to the Stanley Cup. So, new faces, Corey Perry. Brian Elliott will be the new backup. Belmar comes in as a fourth liner, and Bogosian comes back to Tampa. So, we're going to see how all this works, because they've lost a line. They've lost a line of players, and that Yanni Gourde line was pretty good for Tampa. So that could hurt them not having these guys in their lineup anymore. But they're still a very talented bunch. This is still a team that's going to play pretty well. And I'm feeling that they should be first in their division. I'd be very surprised if they weren't. So their forward group has Palat, Point, Kucherov, Killorn, Cirelli, Stamkos. That's not bad for a top six, right? And then you've got Joseph, Colton, Perry, Belmar, Barre-Boulet, Maroon. That's likely going to make up your bottom six. They also have Walcott, Jamel Smith, Radish, and Kachuk are two guys who stand out to me as this might be the time that they start getting games for the Tampa Bay Lightning, or maybe it's a sign that it's just not going to happen for them. They've been waiting their turn for a while. And they've also got Charles Hudon, who probably doesn't end up making a team out of camp and probably ends up in the AHL. On the defensive side of things, what else is there to say other than they managed to find a way to keep most of the players together? Losing Yanni Gourde hurts them here, but their defense, pretty solid, right? Hedman, Chernak, McDonough, Ruda, Sergachev, and now it's Bogosian who's likely in the top 6, but Cal Foote is going to push towards the top 6 spot. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets it. Just with the tools he has, I'd be surprised if he kind of doesn't. And then you've got Clayson and Schuster are still there. So this top 6 is one of the better top 6s in the NHL. I'm not doing the ranking videos that I normally do in the offseason where I rank centers and wingers and defense and goaltenders and all that. If you're looking for it, it's not this year. Shorter offseason, I'm saying nope. And if next year's a short offseason as well, I'll probably say no again. But it's more of a headache. It's a headache. The comments turn into... And then it gets posted all over the internet like, look what this loser thinks. Okay, so fine. It's just a fun list, but okay. Other people take lists far more seriously than I do, including the depth charts on here. I used to do like the lines. Like, all right, here's first, second, third, and fourth line. People would get mad. How dare you have that player in the fourth line? Okay, fine. So, back to this, though. Goaltending. Vasilevsky and Elliott are the tandem. Lagacé is there as the number 3 if he needs to be called in. And I've got Alnefelt on the board, even though he's not going to get into a game this year, but Alnefelt is likely the next guy. And whether he ends up being a guy that can be a capable backup for Vasilevsky, or at some point Tampa Bay says, hey, we can win another cup, we'll throw Alnefelt in as the sweetener in this deal, we'll see. Because very often they're young players, they're willing to make that sacrifice in order to win another cup. Who wouldn't? So prospects, it is kind of a thin list, but again, that's to be expected. They're trading away their first-round draft picks. They have already got a lot of their young players either in the lineup or close. So Jack Finley, Maxim Kekovich, and Jack Thompson are 3 that I pulled that have signed their entry-level contracts. So could be in camp, and we'll see what happens. Because again, they're Tampa Bay draft picks, so I don't rule Tampa Bay draft picks out as potential guys to make the lineup and surprise everybody. It's kind of what Tampa Bay draft picks do. Stanley Cup odds currently are at 7-1. They are not the favorites. Colorado is the favorite to win the Stanley Cup this year. And I took Colorado last year. I'm taking Tampa this year, though, because, again, they've won back-to-back Stanley Cups. Now, of course, yeah, their Stanley Cup, last Stanley Cup, 2021, pretty self-explanatory. It's part of the board that, there's not really much point getting into. But let's take a look at the last 3 years, and it's interesting. So they're first in the Atlantic in 2018-2019, 62-16-4 record, and everybody was handing them the Stanley Cup until Columbus swept them in the first round. And I still say that's the best thing that ever happened to Tampa Bay. They learned not to take anything for granted, and they learned to pace themselves, which is something that Detroit, a generation before, learned as well. Pace yourself. Don't, give up all your secrets during the regular season. Don't get all your wins out of the way during the regular season and have nothing left in the postseason. And also, there wasn't a sense of urgency with the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2019 while Columbus was knocking them out until Game 4. Felt like in Game 4 the urgency showed up and it was just too late. So they approached everything different 2019-2020, especially Vasilevsky, who while at the award show in 2019 everybody was cracking jokes about Tampa Bay choking the first round. And all the Tampa Bay players seemed to be good sports about it. Not Vasi. Never saw him smile once at any of those jokes. He was not happy. They go 43-21-6 in 2019-2020, finish second in the Atlantic, but win the Stanley Cup. So, not worried about winning the division anymore or winning the President's Trophy. This past season, 36-17-3, they end up third in the Central, behind Florida and Carolina. And then in the playoffs, they took out Florida and Carolina, and they won themselves a Stanley Cup. Tampa Bay has made it look easy at times over the last couple of years, and I know people take issue with the whole salary cap issue, and it's going to happen again this year. Absolutely, it's going to happen. Now, it's not going to be as egregious for people, but there's still going to be a team that has more money on their salary, on their cap list, and thanks to LTIR, they're going to, be under the cap. They may still need to make other moves before the season starts to really be comfortably beneath the cap. It's possible that some guys on this chart end up being traded out for other guys that are cheaper before opening night, but they're still going to be a contender. They're still going to be one of the best teams in the league. Their schedule, though, might be a challenge. They open the season on the 12th of October at home against Pittsburgh. Then 2 nights later, they're in Detroit. 2 nights after that, they're in Washington. Then they come home. On the 19th, they're against Florida. 23rd, they're against Colorado, still at home. So, few games over a longer period there, only 2 games in a week. And then they go on the road. The 25th, they're in Buffalo. 26th, they're in Pittsburgh. And then on the 28th, they're at home against Arizona. So they've got Pittsburgh twice in the month of October. And as I discussed in the Pittsburgh season preview, I don't know how they're going to do in the postseason this year. They've kind of become a team that's not as good in the postseason, but they're very good in the regular season. So we'll see what kind of start Tampa Bay gets off to. And if they get off to a slowish start, how quickly people jump on them and say, oh, that's it, they're done. It's finished. That's it. And yeah, I'm not going to be making those declarations. Just letting you know now. But they should be in the mix. And can they win their 3rd in a row? Can they join that rarefied air where teams that have won 3 cups in a row reside? It is very rare that happens. Which makes the dynasties that have gone 3 or more cups in a row all the more impressive. And I know people point out, well, there was less teams in the league. Yes, but still great rosters put together. Dynasties are a lot of fun, and Tampa Bay is looking to become one of those this year. So let me know your thoughts. Can Tampa Bay win that 3rd in a row and officially be considered a dynasty by all standards? Or do they fail, and who do they fail to? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. Just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.